Welcome back again. Now, a fresh debate has erupted over security in northern Nigeria, following reports of plans to release convicted bandit suspects as part of peace deals. Our civil groups have condemned the move, warning that it undermines justice and emboldens criminal networks. The defense minister has also cautioned state governments against negotiating with bandits, arguing that such deals weaken national security efforts. At stake is a fundamental question. Can peace built on compromise with violent actors ever be sustained?
We're joined by Dr. Basir Kofi, Chairman of Backers Guards and Security, and Jamil Mabai, News Central Correspondent. Gentlemen, good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning.
I think for now we only have Jamil while we're waiting for the doctor to join us. Jamil, we will have you answer some questions. Jamil, it's always very exciting to have you on Breakfast Extra. You talk plenty, by the way, so today, please keep it short, please. But, Jamil, let's get to understand this now. There are negotiations with bandits or bandit leaders for the sake of peace. Now, it's one thing to hear it, it's another thing to actually live it. I want you to give us the conditions that these communities or these states that are considering these kinds of, resorting to these kinds of measures. What kind of situations do they, what kind of lived realities do they live in? Before we get to talking about the attempts to release 70 bandits.
Thank you very much, Mazino. For the past 6 months or so, or 7 months, the issue of negotiations with bandits began here in Katsina, to be precise, in some of the major frontline areas. But the history of the negotiations started in Batsari local government is one of the hot spots where banditry activities are much pronounced there. It has disrupted families, disrupted farming activities, displaced families, displaced people, disrupted economic activities along that axis. So the people there, and when the new government came into power, the government, commissioned a more legal, community watch call. And according to the government, what they said was that the bandits reached out to these communities because of the, security raids that were taken jointly by these community watch call that have understanding of these local areas with soldiers and police. So these bandits reached out to these communities saying that they want to come and negotiate and have peace. So that was the narrative, then that was used to start these negotiations. But like always, sometimes the government will not actually say, okay, they are the ones that reached out to these bandits because the government wouldn't want to appear weak. So that was how it started. But the overall thing is, what was being negotiated? What were the terms? What were the conditions of these negotiations? First on the list is that bandit leaders have to stop attacking these communities within Batsari local government axis. 1. 2, the bandits also will have to allow people to get access to their markets, get access to their farmlands. Displaced communities should be allowed to resettle back into their communities. In return, the bandits will be allowed to have access to hospitals, will be allowed access into our markets, will be allowed access to move freely, but with one condition: they are not to carry their weapons around. Then the final one is the bandits have to release kidnapped victims within within that locality, within the Batsari axis. And also, in return, the government will also have to release bandits of belonging to Batsari axis. So that was the framework within which these negotiations were based in Batsari local government. So the Batsari template was used in Jibia, was used in Kankara, was used in Malamfashi, was used in Faskari, was used in Tanjuni. So the negotiation with these bandits, it's not from a larger framework, but from a smaller local approach, local community negotiation with these bandits. And the bandits within that axis are only, the negotiation, happens within or operate or exist within that locality.
Okay, now, Jamil, so you're saying that these templates, these arrangements are informal within these local areas. They're allowed to use amenities, not carry their weapons, and also, well, they want release of their mates. However, all while doing what? What would the bandits be doing? Would they change their jobs? Are they going to stop being bandits or continue being bandits while they have access to these amenities? Because it's really confusing. And when you say it worked in these other localities, exactly how did it work? How is it going?
That is the confusing, aspect of these, peace approach, because to be sincere, we have never seen this kind of approach, but, this time around, like a couple of days ago, I was in Malumfashi last week where bandits attacked a community in Malumfashi, and that particular community had this peace deal with these bandits. And when I went there, the people told me that they are not happy with these peace deal. In fact, to them now, they are going back to defend their communities. Then again, God so kind, I got the opportunity through one of my fixers. I was able to travel to the route of Rugu Forest where these bandits are. And I spoke to these bandit leaders on this particular issue, and the footages are there. I went to Safana, I spoke to bandit leaders, 2 of them. I spoke to Dogo Nakachalla, I spoke to Audulankai in Basare Axis, I spoke to a lot of them in Jibia. And what the bandits told me that, yes, they are happy with this arrangement. They are very much happy with this arrangement. The only part they are not happy is that the government is yet to fulfill their demand, the release of their brothers or whatever they call them that are in captivity. Secondly, one will begin to wonder, so how would the government now empower these bandits? Because these people are not farmers for you to say, okay, you're going to give them money to go back to farming. These people are not into entrepreneurship for you to think, okay, you're going to empower them with funding so that they can go into entrepreneurship. So, and you begin to wonder, and lastly, the issue of disarmament. These people are still, having their ammunitions or their weapons with them. But what the bandits leaders told me when I interviewed them, they told me that the weapon is their safety. If they surrender their weapons, other bandits from other locations will come and target them and they will kill them. And when I tried to get answers, because at the point in time, I had privileged information while working with the governor. I had privileged information that I know the government is working towards seeing how they can disarm these people. So the processes, as of then, while I was, at the center of it, I knew that the government was planning to empower these people, but when that empowerment period comes, you have to surrender your weapon so that the government, then you can be a beneficiary of the government empowerment. But Mazino, like I'm telling you, the issue of these negotiations is something that, has left a lot of people confused. There was
we are definitely see, listen,
4 months.
Listen, Jamil, we are definitely confused here in the studio. You should have seen the reaction and gestures we had here as you were telling us about the arrangements and the details. We're like, are they still bandits at this point? Are they saying we're going to stop being bandits? You know what?
It's confusing. But anyway, right now we're being told we're joined by Dr. Bashir Kofi. You're welcome, sir. But before we continue this conversation, let us show you the interview that Jamil did with the repentant bandit.
Mu yarjejeniya da mutanen da dama na gwamnati, misali an ce za a sako mutane kuma mu namu mun sake, amma su har yanzu ko guda ɗaya gaskiya ba mu gani ba. daga nan ƙaramin hukumar safa na har zuwa dutsen ma ba tsari kai dan musa abun da ya kudu dai har zuwa haskare ko guda har yanzu ba mu gani ba kuma mun rike alkawali yadda aka ce don Allah mu tsagaita kuma mun tsagaita to ai wannan kowa wanda ke garin nan da kowa da wanda ke yawata kowa ya san yanzu ya yi lokacin da ba a zanne lahiya kowa da kowa ma ya san wannan to domin Allah wannan walwalai ta yi ta da sosai ma 100% kaga yanzu da haidai ka samu wani ka aika ya cuce ka rabi ya sayo ma rabi amma yanzu da kanka za ka buga mashin ɗinka ka je ka saya kaga ba wanda ya yi wannan daɗi ina kira ga jama'a da namu ɗin da nagarin don Allah a ɗauki wannan zaman lahiya a hannu biyu kada a riƙe shi da hannu guda har ya zo ya kucce mu.
Tsakani da Allah da annabi sulhu dai an yi sulhu kuma sulhu ya yi. Muna zanne da mutanen nan lamin lahiya. Amma ana iya kira mu da wani bi kore-koren da suke kawo misali ga da an ɗauko ma wancan an ɗauko ma wancan. Ko ba gaskiya ba. To amma wani bi ana iya yin hakan wani bi kuma domin Allah dun faɗa jama'a ne tunda sau nan ana haɗa mu da mutane mu misali wasu akwai wanda muka bugun tsiya tsakani da Allah kuma sanadiyar ba su ne suka ɗauka ba kuma hausawan kuɗin ma da yawa tsakani da Allah da annabi suna wannan abu tsakani da Allah in shiga inda nake so in ji daɗi ba wanda zai takura man ba wanda nake takura man kaga ko shi nan an gode ma Allah misali to domin Allah mutanen da aka sako tsakani da Allah da annabi sisi ba a bamu ba tsakani da Allah da annabi mun nema
kamar wani da menene
to an ce a sako mutane mun sako mutane mu ma an ce mu dauki duk abin da alƙawalin da aka dauka mu ma mun dauka sanadiyar haka nan din da muka sako sai mu ma aka ce manyan mu suka ce a sako man mutane yanzu haka akalla ina da makaddai sama da shekara 3 yanzu har yanzu suna na raye to kiran da nake gargare ni a taimaka a kai mu korafi ga gwamnati don Allah sako wa mutanen nan gudan sunan shi Sha'aibu gudan Sani Shibille sai gudan in dan masa ne ke ga nan wani mai shayi na manta Ma'azu.
Very interesting interview there by our reporter, Jamil Mabai, in, I think it's Katsina State. Jamil, once again, while the cameras were not on us, I and Queen were left dumbfounded. We've been having conversation here about what we're reading. We also saw one of the repentant bandit there tell about how they should stick to the agreements to so that they can keep law and order. It sounded like a threat to me, so we're very confused. I'm going to come back to you because I know you're putting together a report on this, but we'll talk about that after. Queen here has some questions for Dr. Bashir.
Yes, Dr. Bashir, good morning. Dr. Curfy, good morning for joining us. Now, this particular story is, I don't know, will I say bewilderment? It's confusing at the same time. We're trying to understand where this is coming from. But from your security standpoint, what are the risks that will come with releasing, repentant bandits into the same community that is afraid of them?
Dr. Coffey, you might want to check if you are muted. We can't hear you. We hope you're not muted. Can we please check if Dr. Coffey is muted? Dr. Coffey, while you're getting that put together, let me turn back to Jamil. Now, Jamil, we hear you're putting together a report. Do you want to tease us a bit? Tell us what we're going to find in that report. These interviews are shocking enough, but then again, it is actually bringing results. Let's not knock that off, that they are actually holding back the violence because of this agreement. But what should we expect in this report that you're going to be giving?
Okay, well, what you're going to be seeing in the report is something that I don't think if, the information has ever been documented like this, because for the first time, we're going to hear from both the people that are living in these communities before these peace negotiations, and also from people who are still living in these communities after these negotiations. And again, you're going to hear firsthand from the bandits, from those who are committing these crimes, from the non-state, from the bandits who have kidnapped families, who have committed a lot of crimes. You're going to hear firsthand, information on the kind of, their life, how there was I don't want to say this, but there was a time after the peace deal, one bandit was telling me that, there is an innocent Fulani lady, that woman was killed by a Hausa community. She was pregnant. The woman was killed. They slaughtered her. They slaughtered the stomach. They killed the baby.
Oh dear.
They remove her intestine and bury her. So they too, for the first time, will get to hear their own side of the story, and we're going to hear from the communities also that are experiencing these attacks despite existing peace agreement, like in Malumfashi, like in Korfi, like in some part of Dusama, and in particular Malumfashi axis, because there have been pockets of attacks along the Malumfashi, Ankara, and some remote areas in Kofi of recent times. So you're going to hear, firsthand, data or information or voices of these people and that of the bandits. Because for over time, we can't is that of our voices and the victims.
Now, Jamil, we can't wait. Jamil, we can't wait. When exactly are we expecting this report?
Maybe latest tonight.
Okay, well, that's going to keep people glued to News Central.
Yeah.
Dr. Kofi, welcome back. I'm not sure you heard my question earlier.
I think he did. If
you did, can you please go on?
Yes. Well, anyway, you see, when you talk of this banditry, you look at the atrocity of these people. And I'm sure whatever report Jamil is sending you, I basically introduce him to all these villages where he go and get his report with the people before he joined government. So the issue is that when you are making peace deal, usually it has to be a concentrated committee with people from both sides. And then even the question of releasing some of the criminals, the murderers from the bandit side, if you are doing that, you need to know how many of them are in detention and what have they done. So when Jamil said that he spoke to one of them, he said that they have to hold their guns so that they protect themselves. Now, the issue is that the people they kidnapped, what fault have they done? Now, if you say that you kidnap and then they should release the other counterpart whom they are holding, they took them from their houses. They raped their mothers, their daughters. So they have no any fault that you link them up with. And if somebody maybe kill one of them or whatever, it is not the house that they went and kidnapped this. And let me tell you, in this bandit people, they will go to a house. In my own village, which Jamil know, I asked him to interview them. They took a lady who has twins. They went to the bush with them. The parents have to pay 5 million naira to collect them. And also they had a small boy of 5 months old. By the time they brought him to my house in the village, he had over 25 cigarette butts, which they put in his bag. So a 5-year-old boy, what could be his crime for somebody in the bush, a big idiot, criminal, to come and to put this fire on these kids? And I can tell you also authoritatively, because all these things we are saying, these people, when they come out from the bush, they normally come to my house because I stay in the village whenever I'm around. And Jamil will know that very well. And I even call him to interview them. There are instances whereby one lady was raped by 10 bandits. By the time we took her to the hospital said we have to take her to VVL, where they make these people who leaked urine when because they are basically turned up. So now, and also what is interesting, I'm showing you the incompetence of government of Katsina State. All these bandits that are talking about, they were taken before the court. It was the court that directed their remand in prison. So even we know the constitutional provision where a governor can pardon, but you can only pardon after judgment has been delivered. But under this circumstance, you just wake up in the morning, you say that all the bandits will be released. I tell you, just last week, I'm at home in my village. There was somebody whom they come and took his wife. They raped the hell to her. He had to pay 1 million naira in the village to get her back. And just the same week when they started this peace deal, those boys came in front of his house and tell him, Barka, how are you? Allah, we are sorry, let the bygone be bygone. This is what is going on. And during this deal, a lot of arms have been facilitated into the bush. Now, what is the implication of this? Some of those arms bought by the bandit, from the reliable source I got, that quite a number of the arms cannot be operated except they release those criminal bandits inside the prison. They are the one who can be able to handle it. And that's why they are pushing for this kind of arrangement.
Dr. Karfi, the stories you've told are really heartbreaking, and it makes one wonder exactly where recompense comes in. Do they pay for their past deeds? What would a person seeing somebody who has raped their mother feel like when they see them walking the streets after they've been released? You also talked about how the court has its place here and how these people have been put in these detention after a court order. But to go back and just simply, let's just open the gates and let them come out. This is counterterrorism, and I'm wondering where these peace deals fall inside of counterterrorism. Counterterrorism means you're going in there, guns are blazing, and you're taking out these culprits, not negotiating. So exactly where do these peace deals, especially by the state governments, fall in here? Where's the middle ground, Doctor?
No, you see, there is no middle ground in this because it's something organized by the state government. You see, because when they are even talking of releasing the people that they are captive, who even know how many captives they have? Because in that kind of arrangement, you should sit and list out all those whom you are holding. And then also the terrorists, and also they also list. And in any peace deal, there is no way that you are coming for peace as a bandit. You sit with government, you come with your gun, and after they finish, they give them money. And as at now, they will even give them motorcycles, which they use the same motorcycles and go and attack other places. And what is very funny about this, their own arrangement, what the direction is that, okay, these bandits are free to operate outside the state. And when they get their loot, and they can come also within the state and pass to the bush without being attacked. Before, and I'm sure Jamil knows, we have an arrangement where we basically block the entire bush that they cannot penetrate outside. And that's how states like Kano, Jigawa were saved. But now immediately this thing is open. What is happening? They attack more than 4 local governments in Kano state. So Kano is not also at peace. And mind you also, quite a number of these criminals who are inside the prison. By now, also knowing how prison operates, they get more trained and more sophisticated by some advanced criminals. And then you release murderers to your own people, to your own community, after they have killed your own people. And I think it's very unfortunate the Katsina State have no feeling of their own people. I can tell you, a man came to my house one time. His daughter came from Kano after giving birth. The bandit entered there. She was holding her baby. They asked her to give the baby to her mother. In the room, they raped her, 3 of them. And then they said the mother should give back the baby to the daughter, and they raped the mother. These are things that is happening every day. In fact, now is a new normal in these villages. The bandit will call you and say, bring your wife. You have no option because you have nowhere to go. Government cannot protect you, and there is even no provision where they can tell you, in case there are certain crises, please go to so-so camp. We can be able maybe to manage you. And there is no camp is allowed in Katsina State. So you just have to live with your fates. And this is what is happening. And this is the type of people you will sit, they come with their gun and negotiate with them, negotiate peace. Do they know peace? And when they were even negotiating that peace, okay, you say you negotiate, but the stolen cows which they have and stolen items, they are still with them. What kind of peace is that?
So, Dr. Kefi, I think you've really painted a gruesome picture of what has been happening that we don't get to see. These are things that's happening behind the scenes. We're just hearing bandits, but a lot of people don't know the depth at which this has affected a lot of community. Dr. Kefi, you've done a lot of guard and security work for a lot of years. What are the government saying about this? Because I'm sure that they would have heard all the stories while trying to create these peace deals. What are the government or the senators or the local chairman in charge of all these areas? What are they saying about the situation now and the bandits wanting to walk around free without fear?
I think the political actors are interested in what happened to their people. And you also have to accept the fact that among all the elites in Nigeria, the northern elites are the most irresponsible. Because if not irresponsible, look, I have been teaching in the university. I have been teaching international finance for 40 years before I retire. And also I live in the bush when I'm around the area. I also enter for certain kind of operation. So nobody can come and tell me story in this country. And then you find this elite, they kill your kids every day. And you don't care. You stay in the National Assembly, making bogus, you come, all you think as government, what is the role of government is to give your people palliative. Do you know that more than 70% of our schools in Katsina State are closed down by the bandits? And some of them are even living inside the schools at their camp. So these bandits are not in the air or they are not foreigners. We told government, if they want, let us show them each and every place where the bandit is, if they want to take this action drastically. But the political leaders, so-called leaders, they are not interested. Because how can your people be killed in everyday life? And even these political elements in Nigeria and their own democratic project, all they are interested is the election. And now many governments now, they are coming to have good relation with the bandits. Their assumption is that if election come, now, because if you take like in Katsina State, nobody can go to most of these villages. So what they did last time when they had an election in Paskari local government, they gave the bandits the boxes which nobody can go to those areas. And the bandit was thumbprint for a price and then bring back to the political, so-called political leaders. So they know even their opposition or other people cannot go to those places and campaign or to ask for vote.
Okay.
But the issue is that, you know, even though so-called the political leaders in the state, but the other fact in Nigeria is that politicians are not interested in this peace. I believe that.
All right, doctor.
Yeah, if you look at how many, all the political parties, have they ever come and said that, look, this security issue is our problem? They will not. Otherwise, they can come together, all the opposition, how they come and organize that through and sit whatever government and all this. Look, let's come and even sit with the president. Look, this bloodshed is enough.
All right, doctor. Doctor, just a second. Doctor, I'm so sorry to cut you short, but we are almost out of time, and we really want to get Jamil to tell us about this report that he put together and what we should look forward to, because it seems that it captures a whole lot. It's going to be a big report, Jamil, I'm very sure, because you've captivated us now, and anybody listening or watching is actually going to be very excited about seeing this later today. However, I wanted to know what your experience was, how you were able to meander, you know, I don't know, the communities or the forests. How are you able to talk to these people? What you got from their aura? Tell us about the challenges or details that might not get into the report. Jamil?
Bazino, can you take the question again?
All right. I was asking about the reports that we're expecting. We want to know some details that might not make it into the report. How were you able to talk to these bandits? How were you able to get access into their community and the communities where they actually operate or want to be integrated into? How are the people actually taking the arrangement? Are they with it? Are they okay with it?
You know, for the people, they don't have much of a choice because they are the ones at the receiving end or the losing end, so they don't have much influence. So to them, you know, if it's working, for them it's fine. And you know, with access to how I was able to get to the bandits, it has been something like a friendship with fixes that we have developed. And you know, like Dr. Bashir said, I knew him. He introduced me into these communities, and we have established that network ever since. So when the opportunity came, I had to just utilize, and this is the time for me to go in and do this thing once and for all. At first, I was scared, especially traveling through the Rubu forest where it's thick, and a very dangerous area. But, with local fixers there, they know how to get you to all these places safely. And, it's quite, touching what Dr. Bashir said. And you're going to hear also from the report, that reflects some of his, stories, or there are people that, usually align with some of the testimonies of the victims he just shared with us. So like I said, I don't want to talk much on this report for now, but, for the first time, you're going to hear from the bandits, those who are committing the crime, you're going to hear from the victims who have been at the receiving end, and, then we can make our judgment from that.
Well, Jamil, thank you so much. And Dr. Kafi, thank you. This is really a situation that I feel like Nigerians need to focus on and fight for, because, again, you have people who are scarred, who have traumas from this situation of the bandits, and then wanting to release them into the same system. I believe is a bit scary. But let's hope that this is a situation that the government can find a good resolve to. And we'll keep reaching out. And Jamil, we can't wait to see that report.
We can't.
I'm excited, but thank you so much.
I'm scared to see it because I'm sure that I'm very emotional about this, but Well, let's see how it goes. Thank
It's
you
an
very much,
emotional
Doctor.
weekend.
Thank you very much, Jamil.
Thank you, Jamil and Dr. Curfew.
A victim.